The story begins with a young man declaring he is a reincarnator, thrust into a fantasy world of swords and magic that he recognizes from a game he once played. He laments his terrible fate, knowing he has only one choice to survive. Meanwhile, a young blonde girl in a distinctive hood states that she made a decision in order to save this world. During a chaotic moment, a brilliant flash of blue magic erupts, seemingly freezing or striking down assailants. The blonde girl watches in surprise as one of the hooded figures is caught in the blast. A white-haired young man then appears, calmly stating he doesn't quite understand what's happening. The blonde girl seems to be in the middle of saying, "I must dash," when he intervenes. This white-haired young man positions himself protectively near the blonde girl, asserting that one shouldn't bully girls. However, he immediately questions his own actions, as his personal rule was to never draw attention to himself. The story then shifts to explain the game Kriana Fantasy, a popular dating action RPG set in the Kriana Royal Academy. Players can engage in battles or pursue romantic relationships with various heroines, with the story branching based on their choices and leading to numerous endings. One example shows a character named Celia asking the player to lunch, while another depicts a character named Alba arrogantly proclaiming that commoners are beneath him. It's revealed that regardless of the player's choices, Alba Iricia, the arrogant son of a duke, is an unavoidable antagonist. He's described as a strong, self-indulgent womanizer with a temper, the ultimate villain destined to oppose the game's protagonist. The story then returns to the white-haired young man, who is revealed to be this very Alba. He wakes up one morning in a simple house nestled in the mountains, exclaiming it's another wonderful day. This is the current life of Alba Iricia, the delinquent son of a duke, now living in seclusion. He reflects while farming that 3 years have passed since he reincarnated into the body of Alba. A flashback shows Alba, with his original game appearance of long brown hair, suddenly finding himself in the opulent Duke Iricia's mansion. He was utterly confused, not recognizing his surroundings or his own reflection. Then, memories of the game Kriana Fantasy surfaced. He recalled that in this youth fantasy game, Alba was a guaranteed villain. Game scenes depict Alba trying to claim the saint as his own or acting as a rival who might steal the heroine. Sometimes, he would become corrupted by evil, aiming to destroy the academy itself, vowing to crush both the protagonist and the institution. No matter the chosen path in the game, Alba was a persistent and multifaceted villain. The reincarnated individual, whose memories of the game are incomplete but vivid regarding Alba's character due to his constant presence, realizes with dawning horror that he has been reborn as this ultimate villain. His only thought is crap. He understands that Alba is fated to die in every scenario, whether in a conflict with the protagonist over a heroine or when defeated for his villainous deeds. This death flag seems unavoidable. Back in the Duke's mansion as the young, original Alba, he despaired over his reincarnation, questioning why he was brought into this world only to await his inevitable demise. Refusing to accept this fate, he resolved to take action. And so, young Alba, cloaked and carrying a large bag filled with his family's valuables, fled the Iricia mansion and his predetermined destiny. As servants discovered his disappearance and the theft, his father cursed him. Alba's plan was to sell the stolen goods and live a quiet life in the countryside, his sole aim being survival. 3 years later, the now white-haired Alba is shown contentedly farming in his mountain retreat. He acknowledges the inconveniences compared to his past life but cherishes his quiet, work-filled retirement, having changed his appearance and bought a small cottage. His peace is interrupted when a girl, Celia Margaret, calls out to him, apologizing for waking up late. Alba greets her, privately musing that the goddess of destiny seems unwilling to let him escape so easily. Celia cheerfully wishes him good morning. Celia then informs Alba that he has received a letter. Alba jests that if it concerns a debt, she should eat it, while internally noting that Celia is one of the game's potential love interests. Celia playfully retorts that she's not a goat, and Alba laughs. He then gently pats her head, and she seems pleased. Despite this friendly interaction, Alba reminds himself that he must not get involved with Celia, as she is one of the characters who could trigger his death flag. Celia is the saintess, serving the goddess of this world's religion. She is renowned for her healing abilities and her power to predict disasters. Alba wonders how a saintess became involved with him, clarifying that their meeting occurred half a year prior. A flashback shows Alba farming and later shopping in town. He overheard villagers discussing the supposed death of the Iricia family's nasty son, expressing relief that the town would now be peaceful. Alba realized his family hadn't bothered to search for him or dispel the rumors of his death, guessing they harbored considerable dislike for him too. While working in his field one day, he heard a scream. The scream originated from a nearby forest where Celia, the saintess, was being attacked by hooded assassins after her guards were defeated. As an assassin moved to strike her down, Celia screamed in terror. Suddenly, a flash of blue magic, the same seen earlier, incapacitated the attacker. Alba appeared, stating that one shouldn't make girls cry. Celia and a remaining assassin seemed to recognize something about him. Alba internally panicked, realizing she was one of the heroines connected to his death flags, remembering a game scene where Alba had claimed the saint. He lamented that he had isolated himself specifically to avoid such encounters. When the remaining assassins lunged, Alba sighed, thinking that the goddess of destiny was determined not to let him escape his fate. As Celia urged him to run, Alba unleashed another powerful magic attack, swiftly defeating them. He then thought that since contact had been made, there was no helping it. Celia watched in shock as he defeated all the assassins with a single blue flash. Alba reflected on his 3 years of isolated training to master magic. He felt a pang of guilt for killing, even if he knew it was a game world, but reaffirmed his decision to resist his destiny with all his might. Alba asked Celia if she was alright, though he knew she wouldn't be. He apologized for not being able to save her companions. Overwhelmed, Celia broke down crying, confessing she couldn't endure it anymore. She explained her duty as saintess involved constant travel and pilgrimages, during which she was perpetually targeted by those wanting to use her power or seeing her as an obstacle, leading to innocent lives being sacrificed for her protection. Alba realized that while this would be mere backstory in the game, seeing her genuine tears in reality left him with no choice but to act. Celia cried out that she just wanted a normal life, free from fear. Alba recognized her tears as real, acknowledging the gravity of her situation. Moved, Alba gently patted Celia's head and, on impulse, asked if she wanted to come to his house. Surprised, Celia questioned his offer. Alba admitted he hadn't thought it through but told her he could see she had been working hard and deserved to rest. He felt her humanity, recognizing her as a real person, not just a game character, and believed smiling was more important than crying from hardship. He told her that if her destiny was to cry, she could run away from it, just as he had. If she had nowhere else to go, she could run away with him. With tears of relief, Celia accepted, asking to go with him. Alba, despite knowing he shouldn't get close to a death flag character, couldn't help but want to see her smile instead of cry. Celia introduced herself as Celia Margaret, and he replied, "I'm Alba. You can just call me Alba, Celia." Half a year later, Celia is shown smiling brightly, a sight Alba finds much more fitting. Then tears, having regained her spirits, she received a reply to a letter she had sent to her father, the Pope. As Alba asked about its contents, Celia joyfully hugged him, asking if he would stay with her. Alba assured her that since he saved her, he was responsible for her until the end. Overjoyed, Celia then excitedly showed him a pamphlet, suggesting they go to this place together. Alba internally braced himself, assuming she wanted him to escort her to her father's church, feeling responsible since her running away was partly due to his influence. However, the pamphlet was for Kriana Academy. Alba was horrified, recognizing it as the main stage of the game, Kriana Fantasy, a place teeming with his death flags, essentially an executioner's block for him. He lamented that the goddess of destiny truly wouldn't let him escape. Celia explained that her father suggested she attend the academy if she desired a normal life. Alba despaired internally, having sworn never to go near that place. Oblivious to his turmoil, Celia beamed, telling Alba that if he came with her, she would have the best school life ever. The story continues by explaining that Kriana Academy, the setting for the dating action RPG Kriana Fantasy, is managed directly by the Kriana Kingdom and educates promising nobles, talented commoners, and even non-humans. Within this game, Alba Ericia, the unruly son of a duke, is an ultimate villain who consistently opposes the protagonist and invariably meets his demise. The reincarnated Alba is acutely aware of this grim future and is determined to avoid all possible death flags to escape his body's doomed fate. To this end, he has deliberately stayed far away from the main characters and the primary setting of the game, choosing instead to live a quiet, secluded life in the mountains. Despite his best efforts, he and Celia eventually find themselves approaching Kriana Academy in a carriage. Celia, full of excitement, marvels at the academy's impressive size, while Alba, filled with apprehension, can only agree weakly. Inside the carriage, Celia notices Alba looks pale and asks if he is all right. He dismisses it as mere carriage sickness. Concerned, Celia kindly offers her lap for him to use as a pillow, but Alba politely declines. He internally reflects that Celia is completely unaware of his true predicament, his connection to the game's death flags, or how these flags are often tied to the game's heroines, Celia herself being one of them. He silently questions why he is even accompanying her to this dreaded place. The narrative then flashes back to when Celia received a letter from her father, the Pope, who is the founder of the highly influential Goddess Church, and a figure whose power rivals that of the King of Kriana. Celia informed Alba that a portion of the letter was addressed to him. Alba, knowing he had been sheltering the Pope's daughter under unusual circumstances, was initially terrified, expecting an angry, threatening message filled with divine punishment. However, to his surprise, the letter was filled with sincere apologies and profound gratitude. The Pope's letter explained Celia's situation. She is the saintess not merely because she is his daughter but because she was born with miraculous powers, a grace from the goddess. From the moment of her birth, her fate was sealed to dedicate her life to the goddess's teachings. Ever since she was old enough to understand, Celia had dutifully visited believers, undertaking harsh and perilous journeys to bring salvation to the stray sheep through the power of the goddess. She never once complained, always fulfilling her duty with a smile, telling her father it was the responsibility of one born a saint. The Pope confessed his own foolishness, admitting he never realized her smile was a mask for her true, sorrowful feelings. He understood that all along, she had been crying inside, wishing for someone to save her and yearning for a normal life, just like the stray sheep she herself was. The Pope expressed his deepest gratitude to Alba, whom he called Albadano, for not only saving Celia's life but also her soul. Despite Celia still being the saintess and he the founder, the Pope stated his desire as a father to fulfill his beloved daughter's wish for a normal life and to support her in obtaining it. He humbly asked Alba not to laugh at him, an old sinner, for these sentiments. Celia, touched, remarked that her dad is a wonderful man. The Pope then made a request to Alba. He asked if Alba could attend Kriana Academy alongside Celia. He explained that the academy is where many talented individuals faithful to the goddess gather and that no other institution can match its educational standards. He believed Celia could live the life she wished for there. Furthermore, the Pope admitted his mind would be at ease knowing someone as strong as Alba, who single-handedly defeated Celia's assassins, was by her side. He was also sure that Celia herself wished to stay with Alba. Hearing this, Celia told Alba it was okay and that she didn't mind going to the academy alone, but Alba perceived that her smile was hiding her true desire for him to accompany her. Alba then attempted to dissuade her, describing the academy as a scary place with many bad people eager to throw their weight around. He warned her that while the country's management of the academy might prevent dangers like those on her pilgrimages, there would be plenty of unsavory characters wanting to seduce a cute girl like her. He pointedly asked if she still wanted to go. Celia, however, remained enthusiastic, saying she was sure many people there would become her friends and that she was looking forward to studying subjects beyond the Bible and experiencing a new environment, even if it meant losing free time or facing exhaustion. Resigned, Alba finally agreed, calling out her name and saying, "Then let's go, Celia, together." Celia cheered his name. Alba internally acknowledged that while he should ideally stay away from the academy and Celia to avoid his death flags, he had resolved to rebel against his predetermined fate with all his might. His decision was solidified by the thought that a smile suited Celia far better than a sad frown. As he finished reading, Alba noticed a postscript from Celia's father. "Peace, I have one final wish for you as a father, Albadano. Don't you dare make my daughter cry. Regards, Celia's daddy." Celia, seeing his expression, asked if he had changed his mind. Alba, flustered, forced a laugh and said he was looking forward to it, while internally grumbling that Celia's goddess seemed intent on guiding him to his death, perhaps even being the one who brought him to this world. And so, they arrived at Kriana Academy. Both Alba and Celia commented on its immense size, and Alba noted it was far more imposing in person than it ever appeared on a game screen. As they walked the grounds, Celia excitedly pointed out statues of the goddess, the hero, and a holy beast that protects maidens. Alba had a nagging feeling that each statue was linked to different events in the game, but frustratingly, he couldn't recall the specifics. He then reminded Celia that while they were at the academy, he would be known as Al, not Alba. The Pope had provided him with the identity of Al, the Holy Knight Apprentice, to help him hide his true identity as Alba Iricia and thus avoid his death flags. Celia, amused, remarked that her father's power was fearsome for arranging such a thing, and then commented that she honestly couldn't believe Al was formerly a nasty guy who ran away from home and was now considered dead by his family. Alba, still irked by his fuzzy game memories, reaffirmed his intention to stay away from anyone connected to his death flags. However, their presence was immediately noticed, and a crowd gathered, recognizing Celia. "Oh, it's the real Saintess," someone exclaimed. People eagerly approached, asking if she was starting at the academy, wanting to shake her hand, or declaring they should be friends. Alba realized with a sinking feeling that Celia's superstar status in this world was the very thing he should have been worried about. Celia, overwhelmed by the throng, calling out, "Saintess," remembered her simple wish for a normal life. Seeing her distress, Alba swiftly picked her up, announcing to the crowd that she was not there as the saint but merely as a student of Kriana Academy. He firmly requested them to refrain from thoughtlessly crowding her, declaring that as a Holy Knight apprentice, he would risk his life to protect the Saintess. Celia, surprised but relieved, called him Ao. The onlookers were impressed, murmuring that he must be the son of a great noble family for acting so decisively. As the crowd dispersed, Celia thanked Ao. He chuckled, saying the founder would be mad if he let her cry. As they proceeded towards the academy entrance, a new figure, a young woman with long reddish-brown hair, dressed in knightly attire with a cape, observed them. Her eyes fixed on Al and she uttered, "Bah?" leaving the story on a tense cliffhanger.